Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ikra Sarwar and I am from fourth year evening and my topic of presentation is parasitic infection, in which I will discuss about giardiasis and pediculosis. So what is giardiasis? Giardiasis is basically a protozoal infection which is caused by Giardiasis lamblia or known as Giardiasis intestinalis. This infection is also known as beaver fever. Giardiasis is basically occur in the stomach and a small intestine. It is spread through the contact with infected people eating contaminated food and water. Pets like dog and cats frequently contract giardiasis. Giardiasis was first discovered by Antony van Leeuwenhoek in 1681 as he was examining his own bowel stool under the microscope. Life cycle of giardiasis. Giardiasis lamblia exists in two forms: an active form called trophozoites and inactive form called cyst. The active trophozoite attach to the lining of the small intestine with a sucker and is responsible for causing the signs and the symptoms of giardiasis. The trophozoites cannot live long outside of the body, therefore it cannot spread the infection to the other. The inactive cyst, on the other hand, can exist for prolonged periods outside the body. When it is ingested, stomach acid activates the cyst and the cyst develops into disease causing trophozoites. It takes ingestion of only 10 cysts to cause infection. Trophozoites are important not only because they cause the symptoms of giardiasis but also because they produce the cysts that exit the body in the feces and spread the infection to others. Cysts of giardia are present in the feces of infected persons. Thus, the infection is spread from person to person by contamination of food with feces or by direct fecal oral contamination. Cysts also survive in water, for example, in freshwater lakes and streams. Now, symptoms of giardiasis. Some people can carry giardia parasites without experiencing any symptoms. Symptoms of giardiasis generally show up 1 or 2 weeks after exposure. Common symptoms include fatigue, nausea, diarrhea or greasy stool, loss of appetite, vomiting, bloating and abdominal cramps, weight loss, excessive gas, headache and abdominal pain. How is giardiasis diagnosed? We have several tests by which we can easily diagnose giardiasis, in which first test is antigen test. The best single test for diagnosing giardiasis is antigen testing of stool. For antigen testing, a small sample of stool is tested for the presence of giardial proteins. The antigen test will identify more than 90% of people infected with giardia. Second test is stool ova test. Giardia also can be diagnosed by examination of stool under the microscope for cysts or trophozoites. However, it takes 3 samples of stool to diagnose. Despite requiring 3 samples of stool, microscopic examination of stool identifies other parasite in addition to giardia that can cause illness. We have another test. Another test which is biopsy test. Other tests that can be used for diagnosing giardia are collection and examination of fluid from the duodenum or biopsy of small intestine, but these require tests that involve expense and discomfort. We have another test which is enteroscopy test. The string test is a more comfortable method for obtaining a sample of duodenal fluid. For the string test, a gelatin capsule that contains loosely woven string is swallowed. One end of the string protrudes from the capsule and is taped to the patient's outer cheek. Over several hours, the gelatin capsule dissolves in stomach and the string uncoils, with the last 12 inches or so passing into the duodenum. In the duodenum, the string absorbs a small amount of duodenal fluid. The string then is untapped from the cheek and is removed. The collected duodenal fluid is extracted from the string and is examined under the microscope. Although more comfortable than some of the other tests, it is not clear how sensitive the string test is in diagnosing giardiasis. Complication associated with giardiasis. Giardiasis can lead to complications such as weight loss, dehydration from diarrhea, lactose intolerance in some pupils. Children under 5 years old have giardiasis at a risk of malnutrition, which can interfere with their physical and mental development. Zinc deficiency in school children, persistent gastrointestinal symptoms, failure to thrive in children, growth retardation, disaccharidase deficiency. How can we prevent giardiasis? You cannot prevent giardiasis, but you can lower your risk of getting it by thoroughly washing your hands, especially if you work in place where germs spread easily, such as daycare centers. Ponds, streams, rivers, and other bodies of water can all be sources of giardia. Don't swallow water if you go for swimming in one of these. Avoid drinking surface water unless it is being boiled, treated with iodine, or filtered. Bring bottle with you when you go for hiking or camping. When traveling in a region where giardiasis occurs, don't drink tap water. You should also avoid brushing your teeth with tap water. Avoid eating food that may be contaminated, and you should also peel or wash fresh fruits and vegetables before eating. Now we have a case study. A 23-year-old female student has just returned from Mexico after spending a month there with a local church group. 2 days before returning to the United States, JT has a bout of diarrhea with offensive yellow stools. She now complains of nausea, abdominal discomfort, and occasional foul smelling diarrhea alternating with constipation. JT indicates that she has lost about 10 pounds over the previous 2 weeks. 3 stool samples are examined for ova and parasites, and a stool culture is ordered. 2 of the 3 samples are positive for G. lamblia cyst, and the culture is negative for bacterial pathogens. Why is this a typical presentation of giardiasis, and how should JT treat it? Soap notes. Subject in which we have a chief complaints: diarrhea with offensive yellow stool, nausea, abdominal discomfort, occasional foul smelling, diarrhea alternating with constipation. She has also lost weight about 10 pounds over the previous 2 weeks. History: she has spent a month in Mexico with a local church group. 2 days before returning to United States, she has shown the symptoms of giardiasis. Object: her age is 23 years and gender is female. We have a lab test, which is stool over test, in which 3 stool samples are examined. 2 of the 3 stool samples are positive for G. lamblia, and the culture is negative for bacterial pathogen. Assessment: the onset of symptoms, foul smelling stools, and the weight lost are consistent with symptomatic giardiasis in JT. What is the plan? Metronidazole is the drug of choice for giardiasis. 250 milligram twice a day for 7 days. Metronidazole was reported to be mutagenic in bacteria and carcinogenic at high dose. We have another drug, which is quinacrine. It is as effective as metronidazole in giardiasis. It is administered 100 milligram twice a day for 5 days with cure rates of 90% to 95%. Furazolidone, an alternative to metronidazole, is available as tablet and suspension with cure rate 80% to 90%, and adult dose is 100 milligram 4 times a day for 7 days. It is also present in suspension. That's why preferred for children. Paromomycin 25 to 35 milligram per kg per day in 3 divided dose for 7 days is also effective for giardiasis. Albendazole 400 milligram daily for 5 days is also for giardiasis. Nitazoxanide 100 to 500 milligram 2 times a day for 3 to 7 days. It is also a drug for giardiasis. Diarrhea usually subsides in 1 to 2 days and completely resolve in about 10 days. Cyst excretion is disrupted 2 days after initiation of therapy. Complete normalization of intestinal functions, especially recovery from malabsorption, may require 4 to 8 weeks. If JT does not respond to one course of therapy, she may need a second course of metronidazole. Okay, it's all about giardiasis, and my second topic is pediculosis. So, what is pediculosis? Basically, pediculosis is an infection of the hairy parts of the body or clothing with the eggs, larvae, or adults of lice. The crawling stages of these insects feed on human blood, which can result in severe itching. There are three types of the lice. Head lice, known as pediculus, human capitis, are usually located on the scalp, and the second one is crab lice, which is present in the pubic area, also known as the Phythyrus pubis, and the third one is body lice, which is known as the Pediculus humanus, along seams of clothing. Body lice travel to the skin to feed and return back to the clothing. Who gets pediculosis? Anyone may become louse infected under suitable conditions of exposure. Pediculosis is easily transmitted from person to person during direct contact. Head lice infestations are frequently found in school settings or institutions. Crab lice infestations can be found among sexually active individuals. Body lice infestation can be found in people living in crowded, unsanitary conditions where clothing is infrequently changed. How is pediculosis spread? For both head lice and body lice, transmission can occur during direct contact with an infested individual. Sharing of clothing and comb or brushes may also result in transmission of these insects. While other means are possible, crab lice are most often transmitted through sexual contact. What are the symptoms of pediculosis? Usually, the first indication of an infestation is the itching or scratching in the area of the body where the lice feed. Scratching at the back of the head or around the ears should lead to an examination for head louse egg on the hair. With severe infestation, itching and scratching can result in folliculitis, hemorrhagic musculus or papules, post-inflammatory skin thickening and pigmentation. Itching around the genital area should lead to an examination for crab lice or their egg. Scratching can be sufficiently intense to result in secondary bacterial infection in these areas. How soon do symptoms appear? It may take as long as 2 to 3 weeks or longer for a person to notice the intense itching association with these infestation, and it can be spread as long as lice or eggs remain alive on the infested person or clothing. Treatment of pediculosis. First, we have the pharmacological treatment of head lice. Pharmacological treatment of head lice infestation is focused on two general mechanisms: neurotoxicity that result in paralysis of the louse and suffocation via coating the louse. Most clinical trials use substances that work via neurotoxicity through topical products like Linden 1% shampoo, permethrin 1% lotion, pyrethrin 0.3%, Piperonol butoxide 4% shampoo or mousse, and malathion 0.5% lotion. Permethrin is recommended as the first line treatment for pediculosis. Permethrin 1% lotion is applied to a damp hair and leave on for 10 minutes, then rinse, repeat in severe days. And benzyl alcohol 5% lotion applied to dry hair, leave on for 10 minutes, then rinse, repeated in 7 days. Malathion 0.5% lotion applied to a dry hair, enough to sufficiently wet the hair scalp, allowed to dry naturally. Shampoo 8 to 12 hours later. Rinse and use lice comb, repeated after 7 to 9 days. If live lice still are present, pyrethrin 0.3% with piperonol butoxide 4% shampoo or mousse applied to dry hair and leave for 10 minutes, then rinse. Spinosad 0.9% topical suspension applied to dry hair, leave for 10 minutes, then rinse. Repeat in 7 days only if live lice are screened. Now we have non-pharmacological treatment of head lice. Wet combing with knit comb is an effective alternative. Combing may be facilitated by using shampoo or conditioners as a lubricant. However, evidence is insufficient to conclude that this is an effective method for eradicating lice. Pharmacological treatment of crab lice. permethrin 1% cream or pyrethrins with propanol butoxide applied to affected area and ward off after 10 minutes. Malathion 0.5% lotion applied to affected areas and ward off after 8 to 12 hours. Ivermectin 250 microgram per kg orally repeated in 2 weeks, treated all contacts at the same time. Now we have a non-pharmacological treatment of crab lice, in which we can use anise oil. It may coat and suffocate lice. We can also use olive oil. It offers similar benefits to anise oil, potentially suffocating lice and preventing them from coming back. We can use coconut oil, tea tree oil, petroleum jelly, mayonnaise to prevent the crab lice. Now we have non-pharmacological treatment of body lice. Body lice are primarily treated by thoroughly washing yourself and any contaminated items with soap and hot water and drying clothing and bedding in a machine dryer using the hot cycle. Dry cleaning and ironing clothing that cannot be washed also is effective. Pharmacological treatment of body lice: a lice killing lotion containing 1% permethrin or a mousse containing pyrethrins and propanol butoxide can be used. What are the toxicities of pediculicides? Lindens can cause neurologic symptoms including tremors, ataxia, insomnia, and seizure in the patient who are exposed to it over extended periods. It is also reported to cause aplastic anemia. Adverse effect reported with permethrins were local irritative symptoms, malathion and organophosphate cholinesterase inhibitor is degraded rapidly by hepatic enzyme in humans and occasionally can cause some local irritations. These agents are not contraindicated during pregnancy and can be used for treatment. Now we have a case study. DJ, a 54-year-old homeless man who lives in a city shelter, is brought to the clinic by his welfare worker. DJ has excoriation and numerous postural lesions all over his body. The welfare worker states that DJ has lice all over his body. Why are the symptoms in DJ consistent with lice infection? Live infection. How should DJ be treated for lice infection of the head, body, and genital areas? Treatment strategy: approximately 30 to 50 ml of the pyrethrin lotion should be massaged into the DJ scalp, left for about 10 minutes, then rinse out. The treatment should be followed by a plain shampoo, and it can be removed from the hair by applying a solution containing equal parts of water and vinegar and using a fine tooth comb to remove the nits. The whole course of the treatment should be repeated within 7 to 10 days to eradicate the organism had after initial therapy. If DJ has an allergy to pyrethrin, malathion lotion 0.5% may be an alternative. Malathion should be left on for 12 to 24 hours. For the body and pubic, like a pyrethrin combination lotion should be applied for 4 to 6 hours to eradicate crab lice. The application should be followed by a warm bath. The treatment should be repeated in 7 to 10 days, and the pruritus in DJ can be treated with an antihistamine and a low potency topical steroids. To remove pubic lice from DJ eyelids or eyelashes, plain petroleum ointment can be used. Petroleum is applied to the eyelashes and lid margins with cotton swab 3 or 4 times daily. It's all about my presentation. Thank you.